Well, here we are, boys and girls, the last quick episode of this marathon session of nonsense. I had to use what little time I had away from my domestic duties to relate these tales just because I had to get them off my chest, even if they only get shown in my mausoleum. I have a great theory that after no views of this, I'm going to have a great $10,000, $20,000 mausoleum when I die. And in it, I'm going to have a state of the art YouTube kiosk where people can push these buttons and say, I wish I met that guy. He's nuts. And I'll be long dead, right? So I just have to tell you this story. And I'm wearing, anytime I tell a brother story, I put on my Sherlock Holmes's smarter younger brother hat. This time I'm putting it on sideways because I'm running out of props. And I want to tell you the story of Beaver's Raft. Now, Beaver is a wonderful, venerable television show. I have loved it growing up because there was, it was the family I never had. The father and mother dressed prim and proper, taking care of the little kids. And my parents loved me. Don't get me wrong. They were great parents, but they had their own problems and difficulties coming out of World War II. They had scars of what they did, what happened to them. So I wanted Ward Cleaver and I wanted Wally Cleaver to be my brother. I wanted, instead of having a brother who beat on me, I wanted a brother who would say, gee, Beav, you should try out for the basketball team like me. And instead of that, I got, hey, Beav, try this rum and coke, and this little mushroom might be something you might enjoy. I didn't know. I did what I was told, but I took a lot of my inspiration for life from Leave It to Beaver on what it could have been idealized. And there's one more point before I begin. Beaver had an episode that was about building a raft against his father's wishes. And that's where we probably drew the inspiration. But the real inspiration I drew from that show was my all-time classic kid, Eddie Haskell. Eddie Haskell was the first real kid on television in 1957 or 58 to 60. He was the one kid that was the real kid. Like everybody else was like the Brady Bunch. They were all nice and happy, and and Eddie was the wise guy underneath it all. He'd say something, he'd get past the parents and he goes, I put it past Pops and stuff. And then he'd ingratiate himself to June. And I would do the same thing. I would come up, gee, Mrs. Cleaver, your outfit is a delightful floral pastiche that complements the hazel tones of your eyes. And people knew I was a grade A bullshit artist. So that was my hallmark for half of my life. I only learned to be genuine in the last half. But here goes Beaver's Raft. Eddie and I were told that we couldn't do something after we were caught doing it. The parents didn't know what we were doing at first, but it was almost around the time of that River of No Return. Robert Mitchum and what's her name? Marilyn Monroe. So what happened was Eddie and I and another friend would go down to the local river that was a long distance for us. It was like 3 miles down the end of an undeveloped parkway, the same parkway that Angie met his demise when it was more like swamp country and undeveloped. So we'd go down there with hatchets and some of my father's tools and saws, some of which we've inevitably lost in the woods and left them there. And we started building a tripod raft, like the tree fort, a base keel in the bottom and two side pads with cross seats. It was going to be great. I mean, we were the new age Lenni Lenape Indians in our area that were going to have a raft. So we'd go down there all these times, and one of the most notable things we saw was it was near a human sewage processing plant. The river was still has sewage problems, and we, as little kids, we saw the distinctive circular tails of excreted fecal matter that were going down in chains, uh, all linked together toward the eternal sea. And we'd smash them with our oars and stuff. So we were just crazy. It was a Huck Finn adventure in the 60s, and that was all it was. So one fine day, my father told us not to go down there, and we were just getting ready. We had built this thing. We were just tested it the day before, and we said, we're now going to take our maiden voyage. And he got wind of it somehow. It leaked out. We weren't that good at keeping the secret. And that was it. He said, you guys are done. I told you something directly to your face, and you went anyway. So that was it. It was a couple of saws missed, whatever. My father, when he set his foot down, he was a World War II um, artillery forward observer, and he saw action and all that stuff crossing the Rhine. And when he got mad at you, my mother, we could just go, oh, stop. You're like a gnat. You're going, yeah, 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 yeah. When your daddy gets home, he's going to get you. No, 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 no. That was never an impediment to us. We could steamroller my mother, but my father was a different matter. If he said no and you did it anyway, you faced a firing squad. So basically, we went down to the thing. We had our final farewell on just the test ride, just out and back. And the very next day, when we were going to do it, the story broke and we were ruined. So I'll leave you folks at this. If you like this kind of stuff, if you find it amusing, or it finds some lodgment in the crazy stuff you've done, I'd like to hear it. Send me a comment or something. Tell me a story of your childhood that I could work upon. I like it. I just want to point one unrelated fact out. The little girl in the top right corner was the oldest daughter, and she was universally revered as a young prepubescent icon of our love interest. Everybody went wild for her. So I don't know if any of you were like that, but we were sick. So what do you want? All right. Enjoy until the next time. Take care. Bye.